Next up on the Hooks In MMA podcast, we're lucky to have a fighter that's got a big fight on June 10th against Clarissa Shields, and we're excited to chat with her and to watch that fight. Brittney Elkin, how's it going today?
Awesome. I'm doing great today, actually. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad, thanks. We're up about an hour south of Toronto, so other than all this lockdown bullshit, we're doing okay. Yeah, so just speak to where you grew up and what hobbies you had growing up, and then what got you into grappling and mixed martial arts.
Okay, cool. Well, I was born in North Dakota, and I grew up all over the country. My dad ran oil fields, or worked in them, and then became a boss. So I started in Taylor, North Dakota, Dickinson, and Bismarck, North Dakota, then Cross Lanes, West Virginia, Gillette, Wyoming, Roswell, New Mexico, and Weatherford, Oklahoma before I graduated. I spent a lot of time in Wyoming, and I was a swimmer from first grade to senior year round. My parents always made me be in sports. And then, I have two sisters. They were always in sports too. My older sister was head cheerleader, and my younger sister was a gymnast. So it's raining. I hope you guys can hear me. But I was just heavily in sports all through my life. And then I had my son when I was 18, 19. And I got divorced, and I just started doing CrossFit. It was a little bit more huge back then. I don't know, it's still probably very big. I just fell out of CrossFit, you know what I mean? But that's where I actually started in getting back in an adult athletic type thing. And then I was working as a bartender at a local promotion in Gillette, Wyoming, and it was for Ring Wars fights. And it was my first fights I ever been to. And the guest star at the fights was Spencer Fisher. And he was the cool person that the promotion hired to be there that night or whatever. And they were you should be a fighter. And that's how I became Brittney Elkin, the fighter.
Yeah, it's pretty good story there. So I'm a teacher myself. I taught in Manitoba one year on a reserve, and when I came home through the States and went through North Dakota. So I have been through there, but the two spots that I want to go to in the States is actually Wyoming and Montana. Just I'm an outdoorsman, so pretty cool to hear that you're from there. So
yeah, I know a lot of great places. So if you ever need some advice in Wyoming, there's some secrets that only the locals know, but they're definitely noteworthy. They're gorgeous areas, and you appreciate them more when you're older, I think, than when you're a kid growing up there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Well, maybe one day. But yeah, just speak to which gym you're training out of, and which coaches are in your corner for your upcoming fight.
Okay, awesome. So I've always been in Denver. I was 11 years in Denver training and fighting, and I was under Compound Training Center. My head coach, Brittney Elkin, will be in my corner. He was in my corner for several of my matches, Pan Americans, Worlds, all kinds of different grappling bouts. He's actually never been in my MMA corner, but he's been a strong leader in all of my camps. He's going to fly in from Denver. I've been living in Manhattan since March 1st. I moved out to Manhattan to take a job. I've always worked for Fight to Win, but I got another promotions type job in Philadelphia, and I decided I wanted to live in Manhattan. So I was training at Unity. I am training at Unity, but I did a ton of jiu-jitsu there. I've been actually honing in on my MMA, and I've been training at 10th Planet Bethlehem and Finishers MMA. Making the drive from Manhattan to Bethlehem almost 4 times a week. I go to Studio 84 in Pinehurst, New Jersey, going over there with a guy, Mitrion, and Jay Rabuto. John Combs does a lot of work with me, and then I'm with a local girl that's signed with Bellator, Amanda LeVay. There's a couple girls locally from the CFFC working with me, and I've just been kind of throwing together this fight camp because I'm new to the East Coast, but I actually know everybody, so I've had a lot of networking, help to throw this in a good place, you know?
Yeah, it seems like earlier on in your life, with all the traveling you've done, networking is a huge thing, and it can be a big positive for many things. So I think that'll do you well here with your training camp and your fight.
Yeah.
Just speak to your career thus far as a mixed martial artist and as a grappler, and how you think that's going to help you fare on June 10th.
Okay, so like I'm really focusing on, like, I look at a couple things. I've been like making checklists, and these are my private notebooks, and I'm like, how can Clarissa beat me? How can I beat Clarissa? And I have like a list here and a list there. How is grappling gonna get there? How do I make grappling work in this fight? How do I excuse me, how do I like cross through Clarissa's course of what she has to offer? What else is she not showing us? How old are her videos? How new are her videos?
Yeah.
So like I've taken a lot of like sensory look at this, and I also have broken my face in the past, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm really trying to like be smart here. You know what I mean? Like a lot of times I think I was just I'm stubborn, and I do a lot of things stubbornly. So this time I'm trying to like think with that attitude, like of also pushing through and persevering too. So I have to cross a force field with Clarissa and apply my techniques. If I don't get her to the ground, how do I use ground techniques? You know what I mean? So like there's some things that come into play with that, and I hope I'm not going to give all my things away, but obviously it's no secret my game plan will hopefully be ending on the ground. So
yeah, and June 10th it is against Clarissa Shields, and obviously she's well known for certain things. So yeah, I was going to ask you how, kind of break down how that fight could happen, but you kind of already did, and we, like you said, we don't want to give too much away. So I totally understand.
I don't think it's any secret that she wants to stand and use her elite regimen of boxing for years and years and years against me, and I want to cross boundaries and go somewhere where I'm safe and comfortable. So I don't think that's like a secret. I just I'm gonna try to draw out things of her to make me in the best place I can be, and those are my headlining goals. I'm just gonna really try to be frustrating to her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's a great tactic. That's a great way to look at it, and to hopefully execute. Yeah, so obviously we just talked about that. But I got to bring up something quick. So PFL, obviously they weren't around last year with the pandemic and such. I wondered how you got the call for this fight. They have been away, and they have just come back, and some big names have already fallen. So there's tons of opportunity here. So how did you get this opportunity?
So I was working, so it was April 1st, and I was working the CFFC door at the door where the guy lost his finger in the cage. Like, and they literally were just like announcing like over the PA, like, hey, this guy lost his finger. And it's April Fool's. My little sister's an April Fool's like champ, and my little sister had just recently played a joke on me. So I was like aware of that situation, and then my phone lights up and it's Ray Seppo on, and like all this is going on, and it's just interesting. And Ray kind of threw this down, and at first he was like, "Hey Britt, how's this going? Haven't talked to you in a while. Hope you're okay." And yeah, he's like, "Will you want to take this fight?" And I asked him if he was kidding. I was like, "It's fucking. Are you kidding?" Because I mean, like, I couldn't actually believe that he called. I just wasn't expecting that. And after we got off the phone, I called him back, and I was like, "Are you kidding? It's April Fool's." And I like know a ton of people in the fight world, so I thought maybe like somebody had put him up to it or something. And anyway, nope, he wasn't kidding. And then we talked the next day, and then we signed the contract in like 12 days after. So it became very real very fast, and I was making decisions if I was going to like go back home to Team Elevation because I'd always been with them, or what I was going to do. And I decided I didn't have a lot of time, and I had nothing but help out here. You wouldn't believe it. So I'm in some awesome positions right now, so feeling great.
Yeah, that would be one cruel ass April Fool's joke, though.
I know it was like a super emotional roller coaster for a second, just because I have been through a lot, and not like whatever, but I just have been through a whole career, and I kind of like had identity retired for a minute, you know what I mean? And not for a minute, like a couple years, you know what I mean? I was getting ready for ADCC trials, or in my head, like that's where I wanted to be. Um, I'm 19-9 on Fight to Win stage, so I was going to do a few more things like that. I was going to compete a lot in IBJJF this year because I want to be a black belt one day, you know what I mean? So things like that were in my future, and just I wasn't expecting this call. So but it's been fun to come back to MMA. I'm having a blast. I've been game planning a lot more in my jujitsu, like the advanced jujitsu. You do it, have to game plan a lot, so I've been doing that and applying that more in MMA, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you got a great opportunity here, and we can't wait to watch that. So, just speak quickly to some of the hobbies you have outside of MMA and grappling and being in the gym.
Okay, so okay, first of all, I live in New York City, so right now my hobbies are like exploring. I've always been kind of an explorer. I work in venues. I really, really enjoy shows, but I don't just do I've learned to put on events and shows and lighting and all the DJ and all the like floor planning and stuff work through Fight to Win first, but I've been setting up a lot of boxing events, funny enough. I've been working in, like, I work the floors for the CFFC. Those are kind of like extreme hobbies, even though it's my career, because I truly do like really love to do it. You know, I run like the genie lifts, and I set up the cages, and I climb underneath, and I know the metal part need a little extra. When I need, I've been doing that my whole life, and I kind of like journal comics. So yeah, I'm kind of like a goofy, funny. I find humor in as much as I can. I like to compete a lot, obviously in MMA, but I know you said all things aside, like I'm just like, I look for tournaments like around traveling. So like I was just competed in high rollers, and that was in Vegas. So like I try to do little trip adventures around my competition, because I think there's more than,
It's the experience too, right? It's not just the actual event.
Yeah, it's like more than just the city I live in, so.
Yeah, no, that's a cool way to look at it. Our last section here is between rounds. It'll be 1 minute. I'll ask you a question. You rapid fire your answers, okay?
Okay.
What's your favorite kind of food to eat?
Meat.
What kind?
Prime rib, horseradish.
There you go. What's a must-see spot in Wyoming?
Oh my God, Jackson, Wyoming. Or if you go up to Buffalo, Wyoming, there's this little place called the Meadows, and it's kind of a secret, and you need a four-wheeler or a thing, but go to Meadowlark Cabins and then find a little trail, and it's called the Meadows. That's my favorite place.
Since we talked about a lot of traveling, what's your favorite state in America, and what's your favorite country in the world?
So I haven't got to travel outside of the country much. I've only been to Mexico, Guatemala, and I would love to see more. My favorite state is I like Texas. I fucking love Texas. I probably will move to Texas one day, but I just moved to New York City, and I'm absolutely in love with this city. I love it. I really haven't found a place I hate. But yeah, I've been to every state except Maine and Alaska, and yeah, I want to go to Texas next. Probably is where I want to move to.
No, that sounds good. Favorite kind. Favorite kind of music.
Oh, I listen to everything. God, don't put me on the spot. Old shit. I listen to old shit that you hear on a Wyoming radio. I don't know. Right. I'm gonna walk out to The Business by Tiesto. I love Diane Wood. I listen to it constantly. Run the Jewels is something because we listen to it constantly on Fight to Win. So I'm all over the place.
Favorite movie?
Man, I grew up on Wild Hearts Can't Be Broken. I Am Sonora. No, other than that, I watched a million fucking movies. I could label off 100 of them, but
Some
I
of you,
haven't. Go ahead.
sorry, we'll move on. Some of your favorite mixed martial artists that you look up to.
Oh, don't put me in that position. So many mixed martial artists. I'm really relatable to a lot of jujitsu people. God, I want to label off so many of them. Barbosa is somebody in Texas that I really look up to. He's just so cool.
Big fight coming up.
Lovato is like somebody is this huge mentor to me. I'm actually under him in affiliation. I work under Murillo. What a martial artist that is. I mean, I just am surrounded by them. And then you go to like the 10th planet type, and I got JM. It's just like looking out for like people. I don't know, martial artists, like so many people have so many different levels of martial artists in them. Then it's just I'm surrounded by so many. It's hard to have favorites.
Yeah, for sure. And how does June 10th finish up?
How does what?
How does June 10th finish up? How do you think that fight?
I really think that it's going to be an exhausting first round, and I'm going to mighty through that terrain. I'm going to go clench up with her. I think she's not going to be able to escape a lot of my problems I'm going to put forward, and then I feel like I'm going to TKO her in the second round, probably a rear naked choke.
Great call. Any sponsors, shoutouts, or social media to finish up?
Yeah, I'm getting tons of help. The 2300 Arena just sponsored me. I have egg weights. I got sponsored by Slate Milk and the the PSO, the recovery system. So right now, otherwise, I would love to thank 10 Planet Finishers, Unity Training Center in New York City, and Studio 84 in New Jersey.
Awesome.
And my home. Sorry.
No worries. So the PFL is back, and there's been a number of upsets so far. Looking forward to seeing another one on June 10th against Clarissa Shields. This is Brittney Elkin.
My birthday's the day after.
What's that, sorry?
My birthday's the day after.
Well, that's a great birthday present if you can get that W. And either way, you're going to celebrate. Brittney Elkin, this is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much.
Thank you for the interview. Thank you.
Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have featherweight's got a big fight coming up on February 6th. Stephen Ocho Peterson, how's it going today?
It's going well, man.
Good. Yeah, I'm not too bad. It's a Friday, so always looking forward to the weekend. But obviously with the lockdowns and all that stuff going on, and just restricts what we want to do in life. But we keep moving forward, right? We talked before, so you're from Redondo Beach, California, and you're currently training out of Dallas, Texas. What gym is that, and who are the coaches in your corner moving forward?
We're at Fortis MMA in Dallas, Texas. Coach Saif Saoud, he's the general up there. We got a good squad. We got about 20 of us in the UFC now, so we've been making a big splash and just trying to keep it going.
Yeah, and just growing up in California, what were some of the hobbies you had, before you got into MMA, maybe, and then how did you transition to being a mixed martial artist?
Man, back in LA, I was just a kid growing up, getting into trouble. I grew up, I wouldn't call it the hood, but it was like, lower middle class neighborhood. In California, the cost of living was much more than the cost of living out here in Texas. So when I was 15, my dad got a job out here in Texas, and they sold the house in a lower middle class neighborhood in Norwalk, California, and we moved out to Dallas and got a much larger house. Moved out, basically like a whole life upgrade. So it was kind of a little bit of a culture shock when I got down here, but got a reputation for fighting and got into the MMA scene pretty quickly.
Yeah, did you get into that after you moved to Dallas then, or?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I used to get in a lot of fights. I used to get picked on. I was a kid from LA. I didn't fit in. Everybody else kind of seemed to have grown up together, and they were all clicked up by the time they were in high school. So I was this new kid and got picked on a lot, got in a lot of fights, and then that led me to begin training MMA. And, I was, going home and watching WEC fights on Versus, and then watching the Ultimate Fighter. And when the UFC first started coming, getting mainstream, this was back in 2007, 2006, started training in 2007, and then, went pro in 2008.
Yeah, and you accumulated, I think, 27 pro fights so far. I wanted to ask you a little bit about your experience with LFA, because I have a couple friends currently, fighting for that promotion. They say nothing but good things. So, how was your experience there? And then obviously it's led you to the big show. So yeah, just to talk about your experience there.
So back in the amateur days, I fought for Lone Star Beatdown, which was Mick Maynard's legacy series, and he started Lone Star Beatdown, and then he branched off, got started Legacy Fighting Championship, and I fought for them in the early days. I believe it was like LFA 6 or something like that, and they were on Access TV back when it was HDNet's fights, and then it transitioned to Access TV, and then the other organization was RFA. So I fought for LFA or Legacy until I got the Legacy title, and then we merged with RFA, and that's when it became LFA. And I believe that's also when Mick sold it to Ed Soares, and Mick became the matchmaker of the UFC. So yeah, I have a lot of good history with them. It was back then it was like a big family, the Maynards, and Terry Hale, Mike Hale, River Fuller, all of the original Legacy people. It was a big family, and we over fighting for them, but I think 13 times or something along those lines. I grew a big liking to them, and vice versa. Over many ups and downs, I had there's a part of my career where I was the heel. I was hated, and then I turned that around and became the fan favorite, and then became the champ. So a lot of history with them. Great platform to advance to the UFC. They really build their fighters up well, and it's a good platform and feeder organization to the UFC.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, especially with recently the UFC purchasing some of the smaller promotions around the world, just to have like a proper feeder system. So I know LFA is up there, like one of the top couple for sure, to eventually get guys and girls into the UFC. So yeah, great promotion, and I enjoy watching it myself. Yeah, so February 6th, you got a big fight against Sung Woo Choi. I've seen him fight a couple times because fellow Canadian Gavin Tucker fought him. I remember watching that, and I've seen a couple other of his fights. But what do you think about him, and how do you match up against him?
He's a tough kickboxer, and good wrestling takedowns. He's got fairly good ground. It's a good matchup on paper, but the guy's only got 11 fights. He's 8-3. He's fought some tough competition in his young career, but me being a veteran, I've been fighting for 12 years. I think I need to go out there and take the fight to him and show my experience and the lessons I've learned along the way.
Yeah, that's a good mentality, I think, for that. Leading up to a fight, you talked earlier about your training camp. You're over halfway there. The weight cut, the fight. What do you like to do after fights to just kind of let the load off, just to enjoy?
Man, I just live my life all the time. I try to stay busy, whether I'm networking and creating other business opportunities. I'm a coach at Fortis MMA, so I have my Muay Thai program I'm building up, and then I have a son, a 9-year-old son, and I have multiple businesses that I'm building in the process, and sponsorship endorsements, and just countless things that I'm working on. Working on a little bit of a acting career as well for something more long term, or something that I'll be able to do when I'm not able to fight. So just trying to stay busy and try to expand my legacy outside of just fighting itself.
Yeah, exactly. I have a son myself. I was just curious, does your son take a liking to the fighting, or does he? Not really.
Not so much anymore. When he was real young, he did, but now he's 9. He's really into YouTubers and gaming, and he wants to be a YouTuber. And I'm like, I'm all for it. If you can make money on your computer, then you better be good at it.
Yep.
So yeah, that's he's kind of over the whole fighting, and that's just what Dad does.
Yeah, that's his job.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, to finish up, we do a between rounds segment. Sorry, I'm going to ask you a question, and there'll be various answer that you may have. Okay.
Okay.
Favorite kind of food to eat?
Burger.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
Football.
Favorite team?
Patriots.
Ooh, I'm a Bucks fan myself, so we'll try and get it for you for Brady.
All right.
Favorite getaway spot in the United States that if someone has never been there before, you would suggest to go?
In the United States, man. None. Fort Lauderdale is pretty cool.
Favorite country in the world, excluding the States, if that would be one of your favorites? Mexico? How come?
Yeah. I've just the vibes I get over there. Every time I've been to Mexico, it's been amazing energy. The way people treat me, I feel good out there.
Yeah, the way people treat you is number one. Like you gotta feel welcome, right?
I haven't been robbed, so
that's good. That's good.
Yeah, people seem to treat me well out there.
Yeah. Favorite kind of music?
Hip hop.
Favorite artist?
Slim Shady.
Yeah, I just heard one of his new tracks. It's fantastic. I loved him growing up too.
Music to be murdered by. I'm on it, bro. I'm a psychopath.
Favorite movie of all time?
Get Rich or Die Trying.
Yeah, 50 Cent. And who's a couple of your favorite MMA fighters of all time, guys you looked up to?
Fighting wise or just vibe wise, like Tito Ortiz, because he was the bad boy. Chuck Liddell, I started watching when these guys were in their heyday. So just those OGs. Yeah,
there's a few of them and not too many anymore like that.
I'm a big fan of, Pettis when he was coming up, and everybody. I'm a big fan of guys that made it, like, because it's so fucking hard to make it in this sport. And, like, guys that actually like stick it out, because there's some guys, they make it because of who they know, and they just they have padded records, or they're just groomed up to be something, or because they have some athleticism. But there's other guys that are real fighters and that made the sport what it is today. Those guys are the guys that I'm fans of.
I feel like that's a classification for yourself as well.
I agree. I try to be what I look up to.
Exactly.
Try to be somebody to look up to.
Just to throw it out there, I'm not saying like calling people out, but is there somebody in the featherweight division that you would like to fight eventually?
Yeah, I want to fight Cub Swanson, because like I said, he's one of those guys, and he's still in the sport, and he's still at the top, and I feel like I match up well against him. So that's the dream. The young lion just making his name off the old lion, and it's all respect, because I want to fight him because I've been watching him this whole time, and I have respect for that.
Yeah, I like that matchup too. Maybe a couple fights down the line there. And then February 6th, Peterson or Choi, and how does that finish up?
I'm going to take Sung Woo Choi out February 6th. I'm going to make him sleep one way or another.
Like it. Sponsor shout outs or social media to finish up.
Yeah, I want to shout out my sponsors, Knuckle Up Tattoo, Hutchins Barbecue, Solace Saunas, this beautiful sauna space. See Rami Ra for taking care of my meal prep. See who else. I don't want to miss any because then I'll get in trouble. So yeah, I'm working with a few others working on, so hopefully they don't get too mad at me. But on Instagram at 8ocho08, go ahead and give me a follow and yeah, check me out.
Awesome. Really appreciate you giving us the time today. Really pumped to see your fight February 6th against Sungwoo Choi. And we're going to see him sleep, and we can't wait for that. It can get here, and it can't get here any sooner. Stephen Ocho Peterson, this is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, man.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have 9-4 featherweight. He fights on June 11th, Bellator against Aaron Pico. Lucky to have Aiden Lee on today. How's it going today, man?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thanks. Yeah, just speak to growing up in London, or not London, sorry, in England. Whereabouts in England, and what got you into MMA ultimately?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up in Birmingham, England. So it's it's a big city. It's London's the place where everybody knows, but it's the second city in England, and yeah, man, I've been training about over 10 years. I got into kickboxing, Thai boxing when I was younger, and I was loving the watching the MMA when I was younger, and kind of knew that was the direction I wanted to go in, man. So yeah, slowly came over. Was fighting amateur when I was like 16, 17, and then yeah, man, turned pro.
Yeah, I don't know why I said London. It just came to me. I knew,
London's the place. Everybody comes first, man.
Yeah, I guess it's the same here in Canada. People say, you're from Toronto, but I'm not as well, right? So it's a little bit similar that way. Yeah, so just speak to your experience in Cage Warriors, and obviously transitioning into to Bellator here. You got a nice little win streak here, and you can make it 3, I believe, with a nice big win next Friday.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. Obviously, Cage Warriors was it's a very big show, man, for European MMA, and I had 8 fights with Cage Warriors. Even before that, I was fighting on at the time we had a show called Bama in the UK, which was big. We went over to Cage Warriors from there, and yeah, man. So pretty much my whole career, I've been fighting on legit shows. I haven't been on, I haven't really had any build me up fights,
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
so
and, absolutely right. Like I speak about this with many fighters, how people pad their records, and sometimes I don't understand how they get called up to the big show, because it's like they beat a guy that was 2-1 or a guy that was 4-3 or something like that. I mean, like it doesn't really speak to, because you're jumping up to the best level in the world, right? So
exactly, you want to be ready for that when you get there. You want to be tested, which I feel I am.
Yeah, exactly. And there's an example. A guy that was supposed to make it to the UFC, he was supposed to sign, and then he's like, I'm not ready. And he actually went back to fight in the regional stage, and he lost there. So like he actually knew himself, like, maybe I'm not ready for this, right?
It shows.
Yeah, for sure. So what gym are you currently training out of, and who's your coaches in your corner for next week?
So I train out of Renegade MMA. In my corner, I have Tom Breeze, who's actually fighting tonight on the UFC. And my teammate Matty Byfield is 2-0, professional fighter in the UK as well. And yeah, man, training camp's been good. We've got a very active team. We've got a lot of guys fighting soon. We've got Leon fighting Diaz the day after me. We had a Fabs fight over here, Fabian Edwards. He fought a couple of weeks back over here in the States as well. Breeze fighting tonight. We've got Joy Herbert fighting in 2 weeks. So yeah, man, the team is very active, and we've got a lot of high level guys training for big fights, man. So it's popping in the gym, man.
It's legit, right? Like when you're training with guys like this that are high priority and have had big fights, and they got big fights coming up, it's got to motivate you for your own, right?
100%, man. Like we've been putting in work for ages, man. We've been waiting for these big fights, and yeah, man, glad it's here.
Yeah, to be honest, I was hoping we could speak at 3:45 because I'm ready to tune in for that card at 4, and I can't wait
Yeah, man,
to watch
100%.
to
I'll be
watch.
watching myself.
Yeah, Tom Breeze. I mean, I saw that he was your head coach. I was hoping you bring that up, and I'm a big fan of his. I actually like him tonight a lot against the Royals. So let's hope he gets that W.
Yeah, man, he will. I'm sure he will.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so Aaron Pico, obviously, Bellator has, it seems every promotion has their guys they kind of want to build up. He's got to be one of those guys. He does have a lot of skill, and he's had a couple of blips along the road here, which many people do. But he's looked good as well. But it's a great matchup for you. How do you feel you match up against him, and what do you think of him as a fighter and how it's going to play out?
Yeah, man, I think he's a skilled guy. He's got good boxing. He's got good wrestling. But I feel like I'm better in every area, man. And looking forward to showing that. I'm a mixed martial artist, and yeah, I train everything. I've ticked every box, and I'm just looking forward to getting in there now on Friday, man. Can't wait.
Absolutely. And just on the side, outside the gym, what are some of the hobbies you like to do? Anything in particular?
Honestly, I've been in fight camp for about 12 weeks, man. Like we were meant to fight in April, and it got pushed back. So I've just been grafting for a long time, man. And it's a lifestyle, literally, man. I go to the gym, come home, I recover, I eat, I go to my next session, come home, recover, and that's the life I've been living right now, man. I'm sure when I go home after the win, I'll enjoy myself for a week. But yeah, man, I've just been on the grind, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, you started amateur when you're fairly young, and you're only 26. So I mean, the sky's the limit for you moving forward
100%.
here. So I'm really looking forward to next Friday. Our last section here or segment is between rounds. I'm going to ask you a question. You give me your best answer, okay?
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of food to eat?
Favorite kind of food? Ooh, I like Japanese food. I like a steak as well. Yeah, man. You know what? At the moment, I'm craving pizza and shit like that, though. I was able to eat Japanese food and steak in camp, but yeah, man, like I haven't been able to eat pizza and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking forward to trying a bit of that stuff, man.
Nothing like a legit
Even though,
pizza.
especially now I'm in the States as well, man. Like I wanna try Popeyes and all these places, man.
Absolutely. After the win, you can do that next week.
100%.
What's your favorite sport other than MMA?
Probably boxing.
All right, do you watch soccer at all or not really?
I watch a bit of soccer. Obviously, in the UK, soccer is massive. When I was younger, I was a bit more of a supporter with it. But yeah, man, I like boxing. I like MMA. I like the combat sports.
Yeah, absolutely. Me too. I only asked because next week Euro Cup starts, so I was just curious if you tune in at all or probably not.
I'll probably watch it with my mates and that, but yeah, man, I probably won't be tuning in on my own, man.
Yeah. What's your favorite country in the world other than England?
Ooh. Don't know, man. Jeez, I don't know, where have I been? Don't even know, bro.
That's all right. Have you ever been to Canada or no?
I have, I have. I went to Canada I was there for 2 months. I trained at TriStar, actually.
Oh, okay, cool.
I
didn't know
good
that.
experience. When Tom was living there, actually, Breeze, he was living over there, and I came over for 2 months. It was a good experience.
I hope it was between like May and August. May and September.
It was around that time of the year.
Okay,
It was around that time
a
of
little
year.
nicer. You don't want that snow, right?
Yeah, man. I missed out on the snow, luckily, man. I heard about it though.
Yeah.
Crazy.
What's your favorite kind of music?
I'm into my rap, my hip hop, like my UK grime. Yeah, man.
Do you have a favorite movie or favorite TV show?
Oof. I got a lot of favorite movies. I like the older film, man. Like the older war films,
Yeah.
Especially right now. Like I like Troy and stuff like that. 300.
Yeah, 300's. 300's legit.
I don't know if you know about Snatch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Snatch, man. I remember watching that when I was younger, man. That was one of them. I saw it. I was like, I want to do that.
Fantastic. Any inspirational mixed martial artists, guys, you looked up to growing up or fans of?
Well, especially now, man. Like with the things that people are doing in my team, I get a lot of inspiration from my teammates, man. You know, Leon's about to fight Diaz. You know, Breeze fighting tonight. Like it's hard to not get inspiration from them. But when I was younger, you know, I was a fan of Silva and Aldo, John Jones. You know, but yeah, man, GSP obviously.
Yeah, there we go.
But yeah, man.
And
I think now I get more inspired by my teammates, you know.
Yeah, well, you're around them all the time. You see what they do on the daily, right?
Exactly.
How does next Friday finish up?
I'm confident that I'll finish him. Yeah, man.
Awesome.
That's all I'll say. I won't go too much detail,
No,
but I'm confident I'll finish him, man.
Awesome. And any sponsor shoutouts or social media?
Just shout out to Team Renegade, man. My team. Yeah, man. That's all.
Awesome. Looking forward to the 11th. It's a good card, and you know, looking to get to 3 wins in a row here against a really good fighter as well. Good luck to you, Aiden Lee. This is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, man.
Oh, respect, bro. Thank you.
Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have a heavyweight that's fighting next week. He's got a big matchup. He's 12-5, and his name is Jake the Prototype Collier. How's it going today?
Pretty good. And yourself?
Pretty good, thanks. Just speak to, I believe you grew up in Missouri. Speak to growing up there and hobbies you had and what got you into MMA.
Cuba's a very small town. That's where I grew up in Missouri. Hobbies, really, building cars pretty much my whole life. Building cars pretty much my whole life, working on cars with my dad. Wrenching and welding, man. Not much in that town. A lot of people go floating there. That's about it.
Actually?
Do what?
They actually? Did you say floating?
Yeah, it's like a big thing, like canoes and rafting down there. That's like a lot of the people come from like the St. Louis area and stuff. They all come up there. And
is that the river there?
Yeah, river. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. That's pretty cool. And what gym are you currently at? And which coaches are in your corner for next week's fight?
I got Patrick Smith. He's been like my coach forever. And Chris Pullman, he's coach, kind of been my wrestling coach. And I got Dakota Bush, who actually just signed with USC not too long ago. He's fighting in September.
Yeah.
So
yeah, me and him Dakota fight.
Yeah, me and him have been training together for a long time, and you know, I want the comfortability of my guys always out there. So bringing all 3 of them.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. And so your career thus far, obviously it's been very successful. This will be your 9th UFC fight. You know, you have had alternating wins and losses. So, but your upcoming fight could put you on a winning streak here. So, you know, what's going to make the difference here to get on a nice little run here?
Man, really not working a full-time job every day. I felt like my last fight had a good fight, had a good camp. That was my first fight, not having to work 40, 50 hours a week welding. And man, it just kind of progressed from there. I've branched out a lot, trained with a lot of different gyms. And I've been feeling great, man. Feeling good. I'm ready to go. Like we're going to hit up some work tomorrow a couple times. Oh, that's another thing. Be able to train like twice a day, like, you know, the rest of the UFC roster.
Yeah, right. And, like you probably feel like you're not falling behind, but you're not keeping up in terms of the training, right? Because you can't. You gotta work a job. Like not everybody is Stipe Miocic, where he's got this job on the side and can be like uber successful. Yeah, it's tough, right? I see guys increase, you know, their productivity once they can not drop their everyday job, but you know what I mean. Like you probably have committed quite a bit more to it since then. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Started involving like strength conditioning and stuff like that, workouts every morning, and then we work out in the evening, training in the evening and stuff. It really, like a lot of guys I know that, you know, are fighters, they ask me like, do you really think it made a big difference? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only thing I have to worry about. I mean, I have 3 sons. Other than getting them off to school and feeding them, you know, fighting's my life now. You know, I'm not worried about, you know, what fabrication job I got to do tomorrow, how long it's going to take me.
Absolutely. So June 12th against Carlos Felipe. I've seen a few of his last few fights. What do you think about him as an opponent, and how do you think you stack up against him?
I think stylistically it's a great matchup. We're both more strikers. He doesn't really go to the ground, neither do I. I think that's kind of another reason why they put us all together, because we're going to probably put on a damn good show. Stylistically, I think he's more of a boxer. I think I have more tools to beat him. I mean, I can wrestle. I don't really show it much because I like to put on a show. But I think I have more weapons, and think that my pace that I like, if I, like my last fight, I had a pretty high pace, and feel like I'm in way better shape than I was my last one. So I plan on keeping a high pace, keeping him moving, not standing right in front of him. Like, a lot of guys, a lot of heavyweights that fight him, they stand and trade with him.
Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I'm going to move. I'm going to make you catch me. So
Yeah.
I think
Go
stylistically,
ahead.
it's a good matchup,
Yeah,
What?
for sure. In his last fight, I was just going to say, his opponent, that's all he did was trade with him. He ended up winning that split decision, but he didn't move much. So you're exactly right there. So implementing that, the movement and some quickness and angles and stuff like that will benefit you, I'm sure. Yeah, speak to that card next weekend. I mean, it's unbelievable. Like,
I know. It's I was joking around with my buddies, a couple training partners. I was like, man, I'd really like to get a nice bonus. But then I seen the rest of the card. I'm like, yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
you were just talking about we're going to put on a show, and I'm thinking, well, you might, but there's some bangers on that card. So
Yeah.
Either way, it's going to be a great experience for you, and obviously hope you get the second win in a row here. You spoke about family. You have 3 sons. How old are they?
13, 9, and 6.
And they keep you busy.
Baseball, man. That's baseball
Is that
season
what they're
now.
doing?
So
They're into
yeah.
baseball.
Yep.
Awesome.
3 games yesterday. Wonderful day.
Yeah. No, that's great. Are you done with 3?
Oh yeah. No
Yeah.
more. No more.
Awesome. Yeah, we have our second on the way, so looking forward to that. Well, outside of the gym, what do you like to do hobbies wise?
I'm a car guy, man. I
Yeah.
love building cars. My dad got me hooked at a very young age, and between that and a little bit of welding on the side, building stuff that I like to do, and that's just kind of that. And realistically, never in my life that I thought it'd be like entertaining to be going to like little kids baseball games, but it's kind of fun, man. It's hilarious, but it's still fun, man.
Yeah, it's
a good
your own
time.
kids too, so you rooting them on, right? Like that's got to be awesome. I can't wait for those days.
For sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Our last segment here is called Between Rounds. I'll ask you a question. We'll just rapid fire your best answers, okay?
All right.
What's your favorite kind of food fight and after fight?
Pre-fight, chicken. Post-fight, man, I love Chinese food.
That's solid. Favorite sport other than MMA?
Baseball.
And then second, do you ever watch like race car driving at all, or not really?
Yeah, I mean, I really, really into like the street, the drag racing. Like they're doing like the no prep stuff now. Actually, a bunch of my buddies are right now at the racetrack right now. I didn't go.
No, that's all right. In Missouri, I've never been. If I came, what's a good spot to check out?
The Arch. I mean, that's like one of the world's wonders. Pretty cool, actually. When you actually go up in it, it's pretty cool.
In high school, we went down to Illinois, and the first team we played in a basketball tournament was from Missouri. So that was a cool experience. But haven't actually been to Missouri. Favorite country in the world other than USA?
I actually have never been there, but I would like to go to Australia.
Okay. Yeah, me too. Likewise. So I'm with you there. What about your favorite kind of music?
I'm a classic rock, man.
Solid. Favorite artist?
Metallica.
Yeah, solid. Favorite movie of all time?
Gone in 60 Seconds.
Ooh, good one. Inspirational mixed martial artists. So guys you maybe looked up to or a fan of?
Dominic Cruz, man. I remember watching him, and I never even wanted to fight, and I watched that guy, and I was like, dude, I kind of want to try that.
Yeah, and he's not terrible at announcing. We're watching the fights tonight. He knows his shit. How does next Saturday finish up, June 12th?
I'm gonna say TKO 3rd round.
Like it. Sponsor, shoutouts, or social media?
I got nothing.
Looking forward to next Saturday. We wish you luck. We thank you for your time. Jake, the prototype Collier. This is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, bro.
Thank you.
Next up on the Hooks in MMA podcast, we're lucky to have 11-3 welterweight. He's got a big fight coming up soon here on June 11th. Mark Lemminger. How's it going today?
It's going pretty good.
That's good. So just, talk about growing up in Wisconsin and what ultimately got you into MMA.
I grew up in a small town in Wisconsin called Johnson's Creek. I was a high school wrestler, did pretty good at that. Started fighting pretty much right out of high school. I don't know what actually got me to do it. I think it was just something I always wanted to try. I don't know. I went to a gym in Madison and it was history. I stuck with it, and here I am now.
Yeah, and speaking of gyms, which gym are you training at, and then who are the coaches in your corner for your upcoming fight?
I'm at Chosen Few Gym in Madison. And my cornermen are Kane Rizzo, Damian Decora, and Joshua Sterry.
Yeah, so your career thus far, you're 11-3. Looking back, you fought a guy that's in the UFC, you fought a guy that's got no losses, and then your last fight here. So, you're battle tested. You've had a lot of tough fights.
Yeah.
What do you see upcoming here in your next fight?
I don't want to take anything away from my opponent. He's good. He's well-rounded. He doesn't have a lot of holes in his game. But that being said, I think I'm better, and I think I've faced better. It's one of those things. I just got to make sure I show up that night. Anywhere the fight goes, I think I come out on top. I got to make it my night.
Yeah, and just breaking it down a little bit further, like in terms of after that, it was Jason Witt was your first loss, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that first loss, what did you take away from that? And then was one of these other losses against like a Mosov or the last fight? Like, what do you take away from that? How do you get back in there and fix some of the things? Like, what do you focus on?
My first loss, if I'm being honest, it was just something where I was doing so well. I was undefeated as an amateur. I was undefeated until that fight. And I think the loss benefited me because it made me take it a little more serious. I don't know. It was a close fight. It really could have went either way, but me losing ended up making me look at things a little differently and take it a little more serious. And then you move forward to my last two fights, came up short, but the Yaroslav fight, I got cut. There really wasn't a whole lot I could do about that. And my last fight was just, it came down to not pushing the pace hard enough in the third round. I thought I was doing all right. I thought I was going to pull off the win. I don't know. Looking back at it, I should have really dwelled on a takedown in that third round. I think that would have sealed it as one of those razor close decisions. What do you do,
Yeah. So DeMarcus Jackson, you just said, he doesn't have a lot of holes in his game, but how do you think you stack up against him?
I think I set up good with him. I like I was saying, I'm really not hesitant to take the fight anywhere. I think I'm a better all around fighter, but it's the level that we're at. It's that night, you got to show up that night, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. You can prepare as much as you want, right? But it's the 15 minutes.
Everyone at the level we're at is good enough to beat the next guy. So it's about performing,
Yeah, no, great way to put it. What about outside of the gym and training and that? What are some of the hobbies you like to do?
I'm big into motorcycles and cars. I got a couple old Corvettes. When I first started making money fighting, I spent it all on a 1957 Corvette. So yeah, so now I went from being broke, and then I made a little bit of cash fighting, and then I went right back to being broke. So I don't know. I got that and motorcycles. I've been into motorcycles my entire life. Those are my two big hobbies.
But if you're broken, you got some of the toys you got, then it's not totally bad, right?
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. I'll be broke, but I'm still riding around in a 57 Chevy with a smile on my face.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So our last segment's between rounds. I'm going to ask you a question, 1 minute, just a quick rapid fire if we can.
Yeah.
What's your favorite kind of food to eat, pre-fight and after fight?
Ooh. I mean, pre-fight, it's chicken and vegetables. I wouldn't call that my favorite, but it's my have to. But post-fight, spaghetti, man. I love really any Italian.
Favorite sport other than MMA?
Probably boxing.
If I did stop in at Madison one time when I was coming home from Western Canada, I came through that way. But what would be a good place to stop at or go see in Wisconsin that you like?
Like sightseeing,
Yeah,
or like
something
a place
like
to
that.
stop to eat.
Yeah,
Anything. I
anything.
mean, Devil's Lake that's always a good call if you're looking for something to do in Wisconsin. It's a beautiful area.
Favorite country? Oh, sorry.
Nope, keep going.
Favorite country in the world other than the U.S.?
So I've only been England, Ireland, and Mexico. I really liked England, man. I really did.
Yeah. Where'd you go in England?
We spent most of the time in Nottingham, but it was just a beautiful area, lots to do. Seemed like, I mean, any hour of the day there were people out doing stuff, all night long. It was a good time.
Favorite kind of music?
I don't know. That changes. Probably 70s rock. It's kind of my gig.
And do you have a go-to artist or group?
Oh, and that changes daily. Actually, right now I've been really loving that Nathaniel Raycliffe. I know he's not 70s rock. He's kind of newer, but I've been obsessed with that guy lately.
Nice. What about anybody in MMA, either growing up or you still kind of, I don't mean admire, but just like inspirational guys that are, or girls that are inspirational?
Right now I like Stipe. He's just a good dude. He's just a respectable, good fighter. He's nothing flashy. I would like to see more of that in MMA. You see a lot of these guys now. They're like a bunch of high school girls, bitching at each other. I like to see just a old school roughneck guy doing well.
Yeah, and a guy that works outside of and makes
he's got it.
community better and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, he's just a good guy.
Yeah, I second that. That's a great choice. How does June 11th finish up in your opinion?
I think it finishes with my hand raised.
Yeah, looking forward to that fight. Very excited. Any sponsors, shoutouts, or social media to finish up?
Yeah, I got a couple local sponsors. Rob's Performance, or motorcycle shop here in Johnson's Creek. Tony Ryan's Fiber Care. He's a local carpet cleaner guy, really good dude. Carbon World Health. They do all my medical stuff for me. They're right in Madison. Really awesome facility if you're ever in that area. And then Pernat's Premium Meats. They're like the meat shop right down the road. They got the best grub. Yeah, that'd be it for sponsors. Want to find me on social media, Mark Lemminger MMA or M Lemminger on Instagram, or just Mark Lemminger MMA on Facebook.
Awesome. June 11th, going to get his hand raised. We appreciate your time, Mark Lemminger. Good luck.
Thanks for having me.
And this is Hooks in MMA. Thanks so much, man.
Yeah, thank you.